What's up, guys? It's Blake from Chasing Creative, and I'm happy to be with you guys today. One of the things I wanted to chat with you guys about is user-generated content, UGC. As content creator myself, I've created thousands and thousands of different posts, ad campaigns, and creatives for some of the biggest brands that are online. Especially if you engage on Instagram, the odds are you might have seen some of my posts before. That's because the content I create is generally used for advertisement and organic content alike. I want to tell you as a brand, whether you're a D2C brand on e-commerce or you're a B2B brand, because even more brands now that are doing a service or business for B2B are utilizing creators and those with an audience. It just is a practical way to be able to increase your web and make a bigger impact for that top of funnel awareness. Not to mention, creators know how to create. And when people try to mimic this or use what creators are doing to start their own campaigns, sometimes it can just come across inauthentic. But here, let's go through 10 points that you can use to grow your brand using user-generated content. Tip 1, if you have a product or a service that is already doing well and making a big impact on your bottom line and your customer's bottom line, or it's just something they enjoy, start with those products and services first to promote. That's because you already have those who are interested in your product. It's much harder to take a product that is new and start to build out than it is to take something that already is doing well and amplify that message and amplify those knowing about the brand by promoting something that's already doing well. Tip 2, prioritize where you are posting this content, whether it's right on your own website, and there's a lot of plug and play apps if you're in the Shopify ecosystem that can help you get those live in your store, or if it's just creating a section in your website or a homepage where all this user-generated content lives. Some people call it the love wall, where you can showcase real people or creators talking about your product. There's a large percentage of people that claim to, if they see a creator ad or they see user-generated content, to be more likely to convert. Upwards of 80% of folks who've been surveyed say that they're more likely to buy after seeing this. And of course, you can use it for your social media. That's a given. Put it on the gram, put it on TikTok, those places where you can engage. But you can also use it in other ad spheres too. Obviously Meta with Facebook, but think differently. Try to get on a billboard. Go online and look up what it is to get your user-generated content with captions in Times Square, something like that. I was recently visiting and I was blown away on all the ads that were there, much of which looked like they were created and even professionally created by makers or creators for user-generated content. Find those people that are the top voices for your brand. One quick caveat, if you're trying to find the top voices, check out Brand 24. I've used them in the past and I highly recommend them. I'll attach a link here below, but it's a great way to get tuned in and figure out, okay, what impact is my brand making? And that way, anytime it's mentioned, it comes up. So finding the right place and hearing those top voices, that's tip 2. Number 3 is have a creative brief. This is a one-pager that includes things like the campaign details, any noteworthy ats that need to be tagged or collaborated with when posting, any hashtags that are relevant to the campaign, as well as the different components or mission or objectives or messaging that you want to include. All of these are important for a creator to craft the message that you have in mind. The more detail you can give that is succinct and straightforward is also super helpful to the creator because they know exactly what to do. When I get a good creative brief, and there's companies like Mini Social you can partner with to get awesome creative briefs, or you can contact us at Chasing Creative. We can help connect you to influencers, provide a sample creative brief. It makes it a lot easier for the person who's creating the content, but then also for you as a marketing team, a sales team, or operations team, trying to get more messaging around your brand to keep things consistent and cohesive. So make sure you get a really good creative brief when you go live. Tip number 4 is consider the incentives that you're giving your creators or rewards. There's a lot of different brands out there that will partner with influencers in exchange for product, cold hard cash, or even sometimes equity in a business if they're a big enough creator. I think using a component of these, but also having more of a recurring practice is best. I love those one-off paydays when I'm doing an ad or a campaign, but I much prefer the businesses that I can partner with year over year, especially if it's a product that I love using or is betterment to my life or the people around me's life. People want to be a part of the mission of the brand. And so when you give them a reward that's reflective of that, they're most likely going to talk about you a little bit more than any other brands that could be paying them as well. Because let's be honest, most influencers, unless they are a huge celebrity, are not going to be just sticking with 1, 2, 3 brands. They're going to be working with dozens, and you need to figure out a way to stand out. And sorry, the handwritten cards are awesome when you toss that in a box, but now it's a standard. Think about unique ways that you can surprise and delight your influencers like you do your customers. 6, make sure you define the metrics that you want to use for your business as far as success goes. That could be just reach. You want to expand the reach of your brand and focus on conversions later. I think sometimes people are wanting to sell right away and get that conversion, which is another great metric. Conversion rate optimization is super important, and to drive that traffic to a page and close the deal, that's definitely a metric you want to track. But also, what's the average order value, or what kind of lead do they become after they book a demo? These are things you all want to have in consideration when running a campaign. And multiple different metrics can be applicable to a given campaign, so don't be afraid. But I recommend to pick 2 or 3 to focus on, so everybody in the business that you're working with as an internal stakeholder knows exactly what you're trying to achieve. And that way they can contribute to that bottom line and objective. This next one is really easy, and I think it's one of the best tips, is that you want to engage with your creators. Some of the best brands that I have worked with and collaborated with, specifically on Instagram, continue to like, comment, and share my posts ongoing. Or they even break up a fee where I get 3%, 4%, whatever the percent is of all of their ad spend on my creative. They're creating a partnership that makes me want to talk about their brand. But leaving a comment or a like can go a long way. It's a two-way relationship. I also recommend, if you're an influencer trying to figure out how to engage more with brands, continue to like, comment, send messages, reshare content that you've put in your reels or your feed to your stories and tag that brand. It goes a long way to say, hey, I remember that we worked together and I appreciate you. Keep me on your radar for the future. So a win-win relationship means commenting and sharing and engaging back and forth from influencer to business, business to influencer. Tip is the most important for user-generated content. Do you see what I did there? Create a good hook. This is something that you can include in your creative brief, like I said before. So saying things like, you never know what would have happened, or did you know that this could do this, or did you know the result of this, or have you ever seen? Creating those cliffhangers that people are interested in can be an incredible way to do this. And just go to ChatGPT and ask for hooks for social media and content creation, and you'll get a slew of them. But you also need to try them out and figure out what works with your brand to be able to help them see the value in what you're trying to do and also capture their attention, because it's really difficult as creators to always come up with what's great for a brand. If you are sharing as a brand and you have some of those top 5 hooks that you've tried out, just reuse those, rinse, repeat, and reuse those over and over again until they start to fade out or plateau, which you'll see in your metrics that we talked about earlier. Lastly, tap into social communities online where your audience is living. That's another place where you'll find creators. You can use tools, like I said before, Brand24, but you can also just look up and see different hashtags, different groups on platforms, maybe a competitor's platform, they have communities. Join those communities to learn more about the audience and find out what is important to them. Because when you create those ideal personas by interests, age group, maybe what they like to do as a hobby, it can help you get a better understanding of what they want out of your product, service, and so forth. So make sure to tap into those communities. Thanks for being a part of mine here at Chasing Creative. I've attached a free checklist below. You don't need to put an email in or anything to get all of these tips in a cohesive checklist for you and your team to go over. Hit each of these and let me know if you tried them out, if it was successful for you. Have fun creating user-generated content. That's what it's all about. And thanks from all of us at Chasing Creative. Cheers.